Beloved brothers and sisters, soul family, bringers of change of the earth. I'm Geeia Ariati. I'm here of sound heart and sound mind. I am in multiple energies at this moment in time, feeling multiple expressions. I am the assigned oracle for the 144, and I am here for an oracle update. I have been guided to do this live after being in session for the last 10 hours straight and getting up at 2:30 a.m. So, service. That's a call to service. It just is life now. Miadi and I. All right, so as we're aware, we have moved through just a warning, cleansing, clearing, and purifying. If you have not received any of my transmissions before, you may experience remembrance, DNA upgrading, recalibration of your vibrational field. Your molecular structure may go into a transition into alignment with your essence and your higher self. The energies that may move through you from this moment and in the coming times may access archetypal energies that I hold templates to or coding to, and that there are aspects of your inner being that can go into a full place of recognition through Kundalini activation, tingles, sensations, and it is advised that with any of the direct channeling that you take the time and space to close your eyes and be aware of where you are in the space of this receivership. I will not be doing a direct channel in the beginning stage of this video, but I will be going into direct channel to receive the forecast for the current evolutionary point of the earth. It has been, I am of sound heart and sound mind, and apparently I'm getting sloppy. So let's take 3 deep breaths together and just ground into this space as I ask Archangel Michael to place a protective field with my protective, my multidimensional expression of a safety coding, security coding, and protection coding. Now taking 3 deep breaths, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Beautiful. As we ground down and giving thanks and acknowledgement to the traditional custodians of these lands, the lands that we reside on, and the guardians that hold safe passage for the wisdom of matter and for the information of the earth. Asking that there is the pillars of support and the anchors that are either receiving this transmission that assist me to anchor this frequency in, and also asking that any anchors that are receiving this through the quantum field energetically, that they anchor this into the grid work and use their masculine pillar in support of this frequency being received, and aligning the energetic structures of the formations of the new chakra systems. So there is a lot of information moving through my body. Basically, how this has come about is I was aware that I'd unplugged my prophetic vision after there was a YouTube that was gifted out in raw expression where me and a sister had done a live transmission in the direction of source to bring forth their possible predictions for the Philippines. After the Philippines, on the date that was said, did not go through a tsunami, I was like, sorry, God. Sorry, directive, I'm not sharing any future forecasts because you told me something that makes me look discreditable. And I don't even know if that's a word, but can you hear my humans really like in the present forefront? Focus. Basically, I was pissed off and I was angry because I put myself out there in a very raw transmission that showed me gagging, choking, purging, and moving through the interpretation of the information that I had not received. Now, I was aware that the information that was being brought forth is always open to interpretation. Now, that was one of the things. As I said, I'm not going to share any more insights until you show me tangible proof of what's going on. And the answer was, there is. And it was, look at what's happening around the world. Look at all of the different weather formations. Look at all of the interesting things that are taking place. Yes, it may not be what you've seen in your visions, but it is happening. It's already unfolding. And the answer to, well, how come you exposed me to sharing a date around the Philippines having a tsunami and that hasn't taken place based on the energy of the chakra shifting? And the answer was, the energy of the chakra did shift. And that there was never a direct expression that a tsunami would hit the Philippine lands and consume the land with water at this exact time. That was open to interpretation. Now, um, there was an eruption of, I think, the volcano that had erupted multiple times in the middle of the Philippines. There was evacuations. There was different things that did take place. There are multiple things that you can look at in the different Earth activity that shows this, as well as the solar flares. There is no need for me to prove to anyone other than myself of the fact that my biggest fear is not being a credible healer or a channel for the God Source Creator. And so I know that with every prophetic vision, there is a possibility of this timeline playing out, and there is also a possibility that we change it. Now, some of those things that actually took place in regards to the Philippines, the previous channel, which I haven't done since, I unplugged myself. And I've only just plugged myself in because I had a sister reach out and say, what's happening in Australia, because the energy is really, really dense, like crawl on your hands and knees dense, like it's heavy. And it was just her asking me that, and all of this information started moving through my body. And I was like, okay, it's time. It's time. So before I could even finish my lunch, I started having all of this information, which is why I can barely keep my eyes open, is that I'm just getting bombarded with frequencies and information, because that's what happens when you unplug yourself and then you plug yourself back in. So if you ever decide to disconnect yourself and then you plug yourself back into a specific energetic structure or frequency or a circuitry system, and the energetic overload that can come through after you return back into that signature can be quite overwhelming and dysregulating. Thankfully, I've worked with my circuitry system and my body immensely, that I can hold very, very high levels of consciousness and frequency without going into burnout or short fusing. So I'm going to give you the interpretation from my human mind before I go into the direct channel, because I need to offload some of this frequency. It's a little bit overwhelming for me to actually even be able to express, and you can probably hear that with the amount or the speed that I'm speaking at. So the awareness is that currently what's taking place is that the beings that are choosing, and the beings that have chosen their highest path, the ones that are on their highest path are accelerating, quantum leaping. They are transitioning into a level of frequency and light that is absolutely incredible. And what I'm witnessing within the collective is the confusion between different roles and the purification and the alignment of actual soul groups in the quantum field. So they are yet to manifest in the physical. So the soul groups are connecting energetically, where there is a recognition and there's simultaneously activations and realignments that are taking place. So as one person chooses this path and this way forward, it has a ripple effect of simultaneously moving through the quantum field when you connect in the energetics of the geometry of your soul group through the quantum field. So one person goes through an activation here, it moves through, and it spreads through to the rest of the soul group, and vice versa. And so what happens is that as your soul group and as these mission teams start choosing their path, these sessions that I am effectively, and many of us are effectively running in self work, and what we're doing to stay aligned and connected to the call to service is that we're actually gifting this through to each and every one of us. So we're doing it together. We are actually rising through this simultaneously, as well as receiving it not only from the ether, but from the earth grids. And so with this, there is extremely high vibrational frequencies of the angelics coming through. Now, of course, we know that polarity is how this experience is created. So when you're working with angels, and what is happening at the moment is the angelics are unifying, and the warriors of light is one of the expressions that came through the other day in a channel, and many beautiful warriors of light have come into the field in relation to that. There's also another group of men that's called the Viking of Truth, which I haven't spoken about, which hold a very different energy. They're a bit more brunt, a bit more brute. We've got the priestesses of purity. Then we have the original Anunnaki, or the gods and the goddesses that have not fallen into dissension and power plays of the patriarchy. And we have multiple layers of soul groups. Look, those are just my soul groups that I work with individually, and these different paths. But these beings that are in their soul group, and they're starting to remember their mission, and they're lining up to that, and they're doing the work and getting the activations, returning the gifts, growing the wings, all the things. I like that. That rhymed. This energy then moves through the field simultaneously. So it's it's massive amounts of people reclaiming their angelic wings. Now, we had another expression of this about 18 months ago, where a lot of wing activation took place, a lot of dragon wings, and there was a gifting of angelic wings for those in the leadership role. But this is a mass reclamation of the angelic wings, the angels of the earth that are here in that level of 11th and 11th dimension and above consciousness. So frequencies of light that have come in physical form. Now, it doesn't take a genius to know that if you are having a mass acceleration of angelic frequency, you're also having a mass acceleration of descended consciousness, or separation consciousness. That's just how this experience works, is you cannot have one without the other in the current creation that we live in. So what is taking place is a bigger separation point, but also there is a manifestation of what you would consider demonic descended consciousness that's brewing under the surface. How I was shown before I even had a chance to like tune in, it just started dropping in, dropping in, dropping in, dropping in, was that the agendas since the eclipse, the reason that it's been so quiet is because they've been tracking and watching us. Now, this makes sense in the transmissions and the healings that I've been doing, because I've been releasing a lot of tracking devices that send data and information up into different hard drives, different holograms, into different expressions of consciousness, where it sits in basically the headquarters of these different agendas, and they track and they use that person's energy signature, or that being's energy signature, for a specific mutation. And what happens is that this uh, this tracking happens in sessions. Now, that's why it's important for me to say, okay, I need to put down my safety, security, and my protection, and ensure that it's all done. Safety, security, protection. All right, we've got a clear line. There's nothing here that's disturbing it. If there's anyone that comes in and does have an ill intention, or drops out of their frequency of love, and something tries to work through them, then I just clear the field straight away. Now, this means that there is nothing here that can actually be tracked, because simultaneously my light frequency is dissolving and transmuting the energy field. So nothing here is able to be taken outside of this space and used against the individuals that are here. And that I know because this is something that I've been working in the realms of for since the beginning of time. Now, so what this means is that if you don't have protection coding, safety coding, security coding, and you're possibly shown out in the awareness of the world, you're not cloaked and you're not hidden, then you are at the effect of being tracked and influenced or infiltrated. Now, that can happen through your social media, that can happen through someone who you think's your best mate, but they've actually got infiltration in their field because they take a whole lot of psychedelics and they're not very grounded, or they've got a great channel. And all of these different things that take place affect that individual being. And it only takes a moment for you to have a conversation, and they're actually taking all the data, and the data that is being taken is coding and templating, and the information that is you and what is taking place, not just in your communications here, in your communications through here. And this has been taking place in that they've been watching. They've been quite tricky. Quite tricky. They've been watching us since the eclipse. And the agenda as to why they've been watching us is so that they're watching those that are weak. Now, I'm saying that in the nicest possible way, but those that are weak in mind and weak in their ability to hold their stability and their strength in their pillar, and they're watching those that are wavering, and they're watching the frequencies moving up and down, which is why there was such a strong call in the first 40 days, 40 nights. Stabilize your energy, stabilize your energy, stabilize your energy, stay grounded. Don't worry about anything else. You don't need to evolve. You don't need to go and seek. You don't need to do anything. Just ground, just stabilize. Not many people listened. Unfortunately, there was a lot of unstabilization or destabilization. And what took place was that there was a lot of beings that were right on their track, they were right on their path, and they got infiltrated into the fact that they had unwitnessed aspects of themselves, which meant they were a weak target, and they were penetrated with distortions. And some have been pulled up into the ascension portal, some have been pulled down into the descension portal. And at the moment, we are at a pivotal, I cannot communicate today. I wish everyone could just understand coding. It would just be way easier for me. So what has taken place is that the information, basically the tracking of the soul group and soul family, to figure out what pockets of areas are the most unstable, what pockets of areas have the people that are choosing to drop into dissension, and they're quite easily basically going into a place of demonic possession, is even possible in the coming time, through this level of unmet wounding and not being able to stabilize the frequency. So at the moment, if you're close to descending, I highly, 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 highly invite you to take this very, very, very seriously. I might have a smile on my face, but take it very seriously, in that if you are at a point where you're about to drop your frequency so low, that you reach out to a healer or somebody that can support you and bring you back into equilibrium, because once you hit that spiral, they have their forces waiting. So they are basically waiting for an attack. Now, this attack is going to happen in many different ways. The attack is going to happen through the weather systems. The attack is going to happen through psychic manipulation and control of mind. The attack happens through physical representations of demonic beings in physical form. There is going to be all kinds of different things that are taking place. Now, if you are one of those beings that has gone way too high up, right? So maybe you're stabilized and you're getting close and your vibration's dropping and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm starting to feel like dense and heavy. Maintain yourself now. Make that a priority. Nothing else really matters. Not in this world. Make that a priority to come into groundedness, centeredness, and unity. Do whatever it takes to do that so that you can stabilize in this time. If you are somebody who has been going up, 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 and playing in the realms of ascension and disassociation and distraction and playing with all of the different realms of the galactic beings and whatever else people do when they are out of body, floating around and dancing in a static dance and doing all those pieces, what goes up also must come down, right? So, what is really important is if you've noticed that you've been getting out of body quite a lot and you're starting to come up here and your frequencies a little excessive, then what you need to do is you need to bring it down. You need to bring it down. If your nervous system is like this and you're flighty and you're not able to communicate, and your heart rate's expressing irregular beats and you can't think properly and you're like racing, look, I wish I could say I'm out of body. I would rather be out of body with all of this information coming through me. But if you cannot feel your physicality and you can't feel pain and you are up in the realms of basically ecstasy in some form, that fall, just like every plant medicine journey, every festival, every time you have a massive relationship, a karmic relationship where you have the high highs, you also have the low lows. So the low lows are coming and they are waiting for the low lows. They're waiting for the mass low low because that's a perfect attack on humanity. Now, the other aspect is those that are already in the descended consciousness, they are well disguised currently. So there was an observation not long after the eclipse, the ones that were in the descended consciousness that very, very clearly know exactly what they're doing. Those beings that I have love for and simultaneously dislike. No, I know their role. I get it. It's all okay. We'll send them love and blessings. I do genuinely have no ill will. I just find them more frustrating than anything because they pretend like they don't have an agenda and they do. It's the inauthentic action of the self that frustrates me. So, these descended consciousnesses, the beings that chose on the night of the eclipse, which was a choice point for the bringers of change. I'm just going to close my eyes because clearly I'm getting quite distracted myself. Okay. The beings of the eclipse, we all had a choice point. We had a choice to choose our path and our highest good. We had a choice to ascend or a choice to descend. And the primary consciousness, the overriding consciousness of what was chosen in the conscious moment, won. So if you were a being that was choosing to, at that point in time, if you chose your highest good, you chose the path of service for the new earth of the planet. If you chose to step away from an experience, if you chose not to stand in your power, if you chose to avoid an ownership point, if you just chose to disconnect from a point of experience that you knew was of your highest good. If you missed a choice point because you didn't want to do the work, you didn't want to take the ownership, you wanted to keep playing in the human reality, you wanted to keep dancing in the seven deadly sins, if you wanted to continue that path, then you actually chose in that moment and the mass amount of energy that was in the earth at that time to descend, which meant that your descended consciousness, which is the one dimensional and the two dimensional consciousness, overrides all other consciousnesses at this point in time, which means there are beings of the bringers of change that are walking around with demonic consciousness as their main agenda. This is truth. If you are someone that chose to ascend and you were out of body and you were up in the galaxy and you were not present and you were not consciously choosing and you were not aware of what you were interacting in, and you were in a space where you were listening to different galactic beings or distracted in the love and light narrative, then you chose ascension. And your overriding largest consciousness that is running your energy field has chosen that, and that is what is currently being played out. Because the majority of the bringers of change do not have enough presence in their energetic expression from their conscious mind to be able to make conscious choice all of the time. The majority of the bringers of change are running from about, oh, I don't even want to see this percentage, but the majority of the bringers of change that are in our collective consciousness that are running from the human lens. Okay, so the human lens, when chosen in presence and conscious, overrides all other layers of consciousness. So if you are a human being, if you are a human being, and you choose at this point in time, in this moment, to choose the highest path of God, source, creator, and only that, and you mean it, and you like stake your claim that this is the truth, and only the truth for me, it overrides all other of your consciousnesses, and they have to go through a death process and a transmutation. If you have never made that full declaration from every element of your being that I am here in service for the earth, I am here to be a guide for the law of one, I am here as a direct descendant of God's children, and I will only speak the truth and nothing but the truth, and you haven't done that, then you are at the effect of your unconscious agendas. So your unconscious agendas are what was taking place at the eclipse. The unconscious was the one that was the overriding. So you either chose descended and you started working for the underworld, or you started working for the Galactic Federation, which also don't desire for the freedom of the planet. And then there was those that chose Christos or unity and the middle way. Now, just because you chose that at the eclipse doesn't mean that you stay in that, because there has been so much energetic shifting and mutation and vibrations that through the solar flare activity, through all of the different just all the things, right? We don't even need to go into all of the things, but through all of the things, there has been points of choice, multiple choice points, to stabilize and solidify what you chose in that moment. You have been given an opportunity to change your choice. The very uncomfortable thing is that about 75% of the bringers of change are still completely off their path. Completely. And they are affecting those that are on their path, because the roles keep shifting, moving, and changing. Now, those that are on their path are tightening, right? So, this is a beautiful thing. There's positives, negatives. It's all beautiful, wonderful. It's all perfect. It's also really frustrating and annoying, right? That's this reality, is that those that are choosing and have stayed solid in their choice of service, truth, and the highest path are coming together. They're actually banding together. This is the strongest that I have witnessed and seen these energies coming together, and they are unifying as a group mission. And so there is an unshakableness that's taking place. However, the ones that are not in that unified energy are very, very wavery. So, what you are going to experience with the next shift in the consciousness is that there is a point of, all right, it's not long now. We have an opportunity and enough disassociated, dysregulated, and traumatized human beings or bringers of change that are not in a place where they're going to have any idea of what's going on, considering we've just gone through a massive AI attack over the last few days over our technology. So we've already weakened through the 5D conscious, through the 5G towers, through your AI, through the Archon energy. Your field is already, if you, your circuitry field is already mutated. That's the first attack. Okay, the first attack was the AI that happened a few days ago, Friday, somewhere. Might have been before that. There was an intense amount of technology that was disturbed. There has just been another lot of solar flares that took place last night, and what that is preparing for is for They work in layers, just like consciousness works in layers. So, okay, I'm just going to have to go into direct channel because I don't want to be doing this right now. And my human resistance to expressing is too strong. So, all right. Just taking 3 deep breaths with me. We would like to clear the distortions from the energetic field with the intention to witness them, to become aware of what is considered a consciousness that affects the central channel. This consciousness can be perceived and seen as a smoky element of depressed, suppressed, or decayed air through the physical body. This is a toxic manifestation of the atmospheric poison that has been taking place on the earth since Atlantis. The toxification through the genetic modifications and the geoengineering that is affecting the majority of your earth currently is affecting the ability for the information to move through the central channel and to allow for the vessel to receive their own kundalini current and their chi frequency. As you may or may not be aware, currently there is a point of expansion for those that have access to their kundalini and chi and the circuitry system that moves through the organic vessel in this way, and that there has been an ability to transmute naturally through the holding of this frequency so that they are not at the effect of it. However, those that have not yet accessed their Kundalini current in union of the Shakti and the Shiva, or the masculine and the feminine representations, as you can receive one Shakti current and not the other. And so you may have half a Kundalini channel or expression of information moving through you, that you will not have enough life force energy to de edidia korea tatakarya dianaya shatakarya nutakoya dianaya tatakarya shatakarya tatakoya dianaya tatakarya de isatakarya tutukoshatakaria tatakarya tatakarya counterbalance the loss of one of the sides of yourself. This creation energy is the direct neutralization of this consciousness. This atmospheric poison is the second stage of the attack from the agendas that do not desire you, your sovereignty, or transition into a fifth dimensional consciousness or even a maintenance of a three-dimensional consciousness. This Baria Ariana Agaria Shatagariandiana Ututukoshatukoriandiania Kiaria Tatakaria Tutukoyandianiate Nianda and the Etete Keriana Shakaria Yanaya. This smoke has the effect of shutting down the diaphragm and the lungs in a way that your inability to breathe the chi or the natural expression of that which you are through your central channel to activate your cellular structure and your DNA strands with the simultaneous solar flares that are being penetrated at the earth that hold a higher frequency of representation that is assisting with the rainbow serpent energy that is moving from Mother Gaia as an additional kundalini current for those that are ready to receive it. Beeseriandiana adetekeriania se that this suppression of the central channel occurs when there is an inability to connect to your own inner expression of energy or life force. It is the counterbalance. So, this information that is moving through the central channel, through the geoengineered system, works in a way that the body starts to go into a feeling of respiratory distress, an effect that then creates a contraction over the lungs, the glands, and an aspect of the ability to stay in health where viral infections. Dea oria kariandiana atatakandiana totokuena. Viruses, the Eshitekeria, Totokoriandiana, Teriandiana, Okoriandiana, Atiandiana, and other illnesses that affect the ability to breathe are being activated within your environments. Those that are susceptible to this consciousness poisoning that is causing these lung infections and disorders within the throat and the thyroid gland is to disconnect you from the remembrance of the area that you are focusing on. Most of the collective bringers of change are working in their purification of their heart, sacral, and the beginning of the root chakra. These two, these three, these 3 points within the physical vessel are targeted as a way to cause you to lower your frequency and distract you from the path that you are accelerating on. Beeria Koriandiana, Eshetekeria Tetakuandiana, Tetakariandiana, Tetakiandiana. Oh. What Geeia is experiencing is the amount of individuals within the collective light body that have already been penetrated with this consciousness attack. This consciousness is closing down her throat chakra as a representation to show you the effects that it has on the throat activations that are taking place for the individuals on their highest path. There are simultaneous polarities that are taking place. In what we mean by that is that the individuals that have detoured and become sick based on not making not the individuals that are being affected are those that have stepped away in distraction, overstimulation, or in the aversion to the discomforts of ownership or seeing an aspect of the shadow self or inner child trauma work that was being brought up in the collective as a massive transformational shift to reclaim the holy essence of the innocent expression of the child. Just checking I'm still on. This was a mass collective opportunity for the reclamation of the Holy Child or the Child of God, of Mother, Father God, and the essence that is held within the expression. This activation has been taking place over the last 3 3 weeks and 2 days as an opportunity for a massive transformation that that dissolves the core woundings of the mother and the father and transforms the holy trinity of mother, father, child, which is playing out in the family dynamics within the collective bringers of change. This is an opportunity for you, if you're sitting and receiving this transmission, to look at where your Trinity is playing out and where you are sitting within this experience and what roles you're playing with the Ariati and the Anayashatigaria Satagoria Tatakaria and the Anayatiti and the Atiashati and with the opportunity that becomes available by accessing the Holy Grail within that space of this construct of geometric overlap and overlay of multiple layers of distortion, of fragmentation through the family dynamic, that being not only the family dynamic of your biological family, however, it also includes the family dynamic of the bringers of change and those beings that you are feeling a sense of disconnection from, and who is playing into what roles, and what these roles, if met in the truth of what roles each individual are playing, so that you could see each other through the eyes of God, allows for the opportunity for the Holy Grail to be reclaimed and collapse these paradigms that are holding multiple identity structures and keeping each individual from the essence of their truth. By reclaiming the essence, you rapidly increase your ability to transcend the division points of left and right, up and down, in and out, polarization, so that the division of these aspects of self in parts work become more unified, and your left and right hemispheres and the expression of how you see and perceive reality becomes that of the beingness, and anything that does not fit the awareness of being, that being a light or a dark aspect, is easily noticed and worked through the contraction and the awareness that it is not of a whole expression of source. The reason that this aligned time for Geeia took she doesn't like being called out in a public forum for her intentional point of only meeting her juncture points at the very last minute. She does not step off her path, but she does test the boundaries. She still likes her sovereignty. And there is an aspect of her that has left it until this point in time to share this information. She had multiple choice points, just as many of you have, to meet this information before this point of time, where she would have had more stability in her body, more conscious awareness, and more ability to communicate with a direct channel that does not have a fatigued expression. Instead, we caught her off guard with this communication in a moment of vulnerability. In the same way, the agendas will catch you in a moment of vulnerability. Both ways are ways that the inner being or the higher self can manipulate you back onto your path, or if you are testing the boundaries, that there is a redirection through these moments where there is a point that you are close to fragmentation. You can either choose fragmentation or alignment, and Geeia is the perfect representation of an example of this in this moment. She did not have any further points in time to share this information. She would have missed her choice point and she would have stepped off her highest path. She has already made a declaration that she will stand in the highest path of God Source Creator and that nothing else will do. And yet there is still awareness, there is a delay with her acceleration because she is already in a point of disillusionment that if she expands any further, that the rest of the family of light will not catch up and she will stay alone in leadership forever. Oh, thank you. Alright, coming back. This does. There's no space for Geeia's communication at this point in time, but you can all have a giggle at her expense because she created this for herself. What is shifting within the earth structures now is the relocation of the chakra points. They have already made their way along the new grid line that was anchored in the opportunity when there was a reactivation of a dormant grid line that had existed in the time of Lemuria. This activation took place approximately 4 weeks ago. When this grid line was activated within the Earth structure, there was a new opportunity for light pathways for the chakras to move through a new transition point to make their new location, rather than using the original ley lines and grid points that we have been seeing and working off in the maps that you have available to you on your World Wide Web. In this opportunity, what has taken place is that the chakras are now moving through a new location of transitioning through the platelet, platelets of the Earth's formation that is allowing for a momentum to start to build. The first transition point of this journey for the chakra realignment to the new positioning has happened in a more easeful expression because there was less turbulence with the new grid line that was provided. However, what is taking place is the momentum and the expansion that is being felt within the collective is also expanding the momentum and the shift of the chakra realignment. This has what you could see or perceive as a positive and a negative effect because the acceleration of the chakra moving is the acceleration of the consciousness shifting into a higher vibrational state of frequency and the remembering of the unified self. As there are multiple beings that are choosing that have accelerated far faster than the projected timelines that were gifted to them, out evolving their soul's energy blueprints and the roadmaps that they have created for their life experience here, many evolving beyond what they were contracted to, this trajectory forward has allowed for this shift to Ariata Takariandiana Ashatakariano Okoriandiana Tatakariandiana Satakari Ashatakoriandiana Tatakaria Tatakariandiana Totokoria Shatakariandiana Tiandiani. Rapidly increase where there is a point of awareness that you are currently in the transition of Bariate and Diana 33.9 Diatotokoena 33.9% in the relocation into the new chakra anchoring. Over the next period of the shift in consciousness, this acceleration based on human consciousness will accelerate the chakra system to increase their vibration. This spinning effect of the vibration spinning at a rate that it spins so fast that it can move through the momentum of vibration and frequency is that this will cause turbulence at any juncture points along where the old grid lines overlap with the new grid lines. These turbulence points are where you will find that the platelets and the Earth's energy structures are going to cause some interesting weather systems. Not only is the weather systems and the transformation of the earth through its natural evolution taking place, but there is also agendas that are taking place in the desire to manipulate the movement of the chakra. So at these juncture points where the old grid line and the new grid line meet, there is an opportunity for the chakra to drop down into the old dimensional plane of the old chakra point and have to take a new route to find its new location. If that takes place, there is the redirection of energetic momentum that creates destruction in the inner earth, which is where the vibrational transformation may become more destructive. If at these grid point juncture points that everyone in the collective is choosing their highest vibrational frequency and we are stabilizing and continuing to work together as a group of individual souls staying unified, then you will be able to allow for the ineffectivity of any agendas. This is what happens when beings choose source. They are indirectly but they are not at the direct effect of any outside agendas that may try to influence their experience. They are in the protective field of God Source Creator and they will not receive, through vibrational frequency, any outside disturbances. This is what you call alignment, flow, source expression. This is what is only required for you during this time, as this is what will assist the chakra to stay in alignment and vibrational shift in ease and grace for the earth. Meriandiana Aseria Tetegeriandiana Tetegeriandiana Asategeriandiana Yotokoshtukoriandiana Bariandiana Ki Indiana Sarani. Baaria Seria Kiana. We are giving Geia's brain a reprieval as she continues to communicate this transmission. And so we'll take some temporary time at different points until this is complete, where she can take a moment from the transcribing of this information that is from an intellectual level challenging for her when she is in a place of fatigue. However, from her inner being, she already has this information coded within her vibrational cells, and it is a mind versus knowing imbalance that is still taking its course of alignment for reconciliation. If the chakras move along the new transition point that allows for the information to be of that of a aligned expression with the collective energy for more ease and grace, there will be less damage to the structures of the earth. There will be pockets of land that transform in ways that does not mean that it will appear to the way the mind's eye has expressed the transformation of this occurrence. The land pockets, in its highest possible timeline at this point in time, means that areas of land that are free of collective consciousness and different aspects of the Earth's crust will experience different transformation that does not affect life form in its organic expression. There are lands and there are pockets upon this reality of that which you are not aware of that store information and that do not hold life form. These are areas that would be considered out of bounds. These areas are expressions that can and will, if on the highest timeline, shift in a new way that will allow for this information to be destroyed from its holding stores and entrapment programs and be gifted back to the earth in a new form of allowing that to meet the energetic expression of reintegrating it into the earth's geometry and through the coding of water. Those that are aware of what we are speaking to know exactly what it is that we are saying. Those that are not, you will remember. In regards to if the turbulence occurs and there is a further drop in the collective consciousness in those that are currently on the edge and losing their stability, and there is a drop of any more than 7%, there is a opportunity that the grid line will shift from where it is into the old structure where you will see different land masses that will create the de seria torian de tekarian diana yashtikian diana yashtakoria tetakaria 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 diana. Bariandiana Kariandiana Ushatakuandiana Seria Kariano Okoriandiana Seria Shatikariandiana Tatakaria Tatakariandiana, where there are different land masses that will experience transformation through weather devastation, natural disasters that are effectively still considered natural disasters, as the shift of the energy from one chakra grid to the other is not done through force or through any form of energetic manipulation of the earth structures, as that is a breach of violation of universal law. It is done through mind control. And that is done through influencing and affecting those from their path and lowering their vibrational frequency. So, effectively, the agenda is created and carried out by those in their own individual thoughts and what they are choosing in a moment to moment basis. So, what this means for you is that you are the creators of your earth. You are the creators of the tip between the poles. You are the ones that choose how many lives are lost and how many lives are saved. You are the ones that choose how this reality looks. You are the ones that control through your sovereignty where you are directing your consciousness and your thought. What we would advise and ask of you is to be intentional with your thought, to be intentional with your vibration, and to look forward at the future you want to create and stop focusing on the past, the karmic distortions, and what has once kept you entrapped into a prison of your own making. I love how they don't say goodbye, they just like disappear. So taking a couple of deep breaths to just fully receive and breathe through all of that. Exhaling out. Breathing in. Exhaling out. And allowing that which you receive for you to be received in totality, that which you're receiving as inspiration to not push the time limits. This is the second time I have become aware of this. So I'm taking full accountability of a witness of 39 beings that I ensure. I declare through my sovereign free will and choice, and all that I know to be God's source creator within me and with all around me, all aspects of my being, the fullness of that which I have come to know, that I choose to hear and act on the first guided message, and that I hear and act no matter where I be, what I'm doing, that I will stop, redirect in that moment, and align to the highest possible frequency for source to be moved through me, that I will no longer create delays that affect more than just myself, and that I take accountability for any of the delays that have occurred for our collective, and responsibility for where I have not acted in that exact moment. And that I declare that when God speaks, there's no time for hesitation. I love you, I love you, I love you. For all of those beautiful beings that have sent me emails for support, I am in the process of getting back to all of you. It is not that I am ignoring you, nor is it that you are not important. Every single one of you is important. And so it is. Thank you. The the structures of my call to service need to shift. I am looking at how to do that while still maintain the call to service with no hesitation, and how to build new frameworks when that also takes time. So just working through all of these pieces and ensuring that I will prioritize the accelerated path. Okay, so we're changing it, not the highest path. Okay, so what happens is we out evolve certain terminology. So I've been on my highest path for quite a long time. I made a declaration around that and that I wouldn't step off. So, what I just got then is I need to change my vibrational frequency to the accelerated path to God, Source, Creator, and oneness for unity of all beings, which shifts that vibrational pathway and brings that forward and brings that opportunity with more momentum for others to also choose. So, on that accelerated path, I am going to do my absolute best to get back to everybody. There is a mastermind called the DAC Process Mastermind this Sunday, which gives you a framework to work through the patterns of trauma, the patterns of consciousness, to complete the cycles that will keep you sending you down into descension. It is actually called Descension Ascension Completion Process. So it is taking the time and space to go through the descended consciousness and to look at contracts, to look at any entrapment programming. It's looking at the belief systems, the entanglements, all of the different things that take place that keep us in this cycle, and then in how to ascend and bring in a completion, and to complete those identities, to complete those wounds, so that you don't have to keep saying that you feel unlovable or unworthy, that you don't have to keep going into your mother wound and addiction, any aspects of mental instability. I'm trying to think of all the things. Anything that has fragmented the psyche. You can use it in relationship, you can use it with your business, you can use it to transform your entire reality. This framework has been designed through me from source for exactly this, that you can go, I have a problem and I have I also have the solution. This is about you finding the solution within you with some guided frameworks so that it empowers you to be your healer, your guru, and for all of you to start to embody the knowing of your own intuitive guidance. So it is the guide and the way shower to showing you exactly what you are. So if you're interested in that, there is, I will put a link in, there's a link in the link tree. It's called DAC Process Mastermind, and it's a 5-hour workshop. And there is a couple of different videos that I can put a link to in the description box here, so that you can come along to that if that feels true. I also, for the men, there will possibly be a 3-month initiation process, a group container to support the men in this together, because they're all at very similar levels of consciousness and involvement. So it's a beautiful way to work with brotherhood, to bring that connection and to evolve and shift out of the negative programming and the false matrix so that you can stand in your pillar of light. Other than that, I love you. If you enjoyed this transmission, please like, share, and Miariania, please like, share, and buddy, what else do I say? Subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to support my mission and through any donations, there is also a donation link for PayPal in my link tree. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for supporting me, and I love you. I'm going to go have a sleep now.